Hello, this is Eric with Just Got Played, and today I'm going to be giving you an overview and my thoughts on a game called Rolling Realms from Stonemaier Games, so stick around. Okay, this is Rolling Realms by Stonemaier Games, designed by Jamey Stegmaier, with art by Bensky and Marius Petrescu. As you can see, it is a game for 1 to 6 players, ages 14 and up, and it plays in about 30 minutes. So this is a roll and write style of game, in which, generally speaking, you roll something and then write something down. And this is a prototypical specimen of that, as it were, because you actually roll dice and then write things. So generally how this game is going to go is everybody's going to get a stack of cards in their color. 2 of those cards are going to be your scorecard and your resources. And the rest of them are going to be a bunch of different realms, as it were, that are callbacks to other Stonemaier games. All right, so the game is going to happen in 3 rounds, each of which is going to have 9 turns in it. And what happens is on a turn, somebody's going to roll these hefty dice, and then everybody's going to mark down the numbers. So that's a 6 and a 3, 6 and 3. And then you're going to need to figure out a way to put those numbers on your realms here. So the rules are pretty simple. Each number has to go on a different card, asterisk, and each card has special rules for how you can place the numbers on them. And again, these are callback to other Stonemaier games. So there's a lot of it's not complicated. Like, you don't have an entire Wingspan game here, but it is evocative of that. For instance, Viticulture here is going to score by, let me just talk about the resources real quick. So this card over here is going to be resources, which you can gather on different cards in various ways. You can see them all kind of laid out here in different parts. You have pumpkins, you have hearts, and you have coins. And you can gather these and then use them to kind of mitigate the dice and or to do other effects. So as an example, if you spend 2 pumpkins, you can adjust a die by plus or minus 1. And this is cumulative. So I could spend 6 pumpkins to go up 3 or down 3 with a die roll. If I spend 3 pumpkins, I can adjust a die plus 1 or minus 1 or 0. And then you may use it in a realm you've already used this turn. So as I mentioned earlier, you have to put the numbers on different cards. But if you spend 3 pumpkins, you can put the numbers on the same card. If you spend 2 hearts, if the rolled dice are a pair, gain a die of that value. So if I rolled a pair of 4s and spent 2 hearts, I have actually 3 4s to put down. Now, just like the base rules, they all have to be placed in separate realms. Unless, of course, I spend pumpkins to allow me to place a number in the same realm as another number. If I spend 3 hearts, you gain a die of the same value as either rolled die. So if I roll, say, a 1 and a 5, if I spend 3 hearts, I can have another 1 or another 5. And again, to put in a separate realm from the other ones. If I spend 2 coins, if the sum of the rolled dice is 7, gain a die of the same value as either rolled die. So for 2 coins, if I rolled a 3 and a 4, I can get another 3 or another 4. Again, to be placed in a separate realm. If I spend X coins, I just gain a die of that value. So if I roll, say, a 3 and a 5, but I really want a 2, I can just also have a 2. Now, again, it's got to go in a different realm, but I could spend pumpkins and put it in the same realm to accomplish different things. So back over to the realms here. So first off, each round is going to consist of 3 of the deck of cards, and the other ones are going to go off to the side. Somebody basically shuffles them up and flips over 3, and then everybody flips over the same 3, and that's what you play with for that round. All right, and each realm is going to have different rules for it. So for instance, Viticulture says either gain a grape, outline it, and a resource, or use the sum of 1 die and the value of at least 1 gained grape, cross it off, to mark a wine order equal to or less than that sum. And then you're going to score 2 stars per marked wine order. Stars are victory points. You're going to put your star totals here for the 3 rounds. You're going to add them all up, and that's your score. All right, so what this is basically saying is, say I rolled a 6 and a 3. So in theory, I could outline this 6. And then on a future turn, say I rolled a 4, then I could use that 4 with that 6 to take this 10. And that's going to be 2 stars because I have marked off a wine order. So very much like viticulture, you're making wine, you're growing grapes, you're making wine, and you're getting points for that. Wingspan says fill a square with any number left to right within each bird. then gain the resource or star below that square. So this is a good example. Oh, I missed it over here as well. But when I circled this grape, I also got a pumpkin. So I would have circled that pumpkin. And then when you use it, you mark it off. So back to wingspan, then gain the resource or star below that square. So this is saying that you have to go from left to right within each bird. So I could start here and go that way, start here and go that way, or start here and go that way. I could put one here, and one there, whatever, as long as I start on the left of each bird and then proceed to the right. And when I would do that, I would, let's say I put the 6 here, then I'm going to gain a heart. So I would circle a heart and then again, cross it off when I were to use that. All right. And then you put your consecutive numbers down. You will notice that the star is the third of each one. So that means I have to put 2 numbers down before I put a number down to get a star, each one of those. You'll also notice that each one of the realms is capped at 6 stars. So there may be a way to get more than 6 stars, but even if you could, you can't, because it's just capped at 6. Now on this one, there's only really 6 out there. In addition to stars gained by filling the far right square on each bird, score 1 star per complete bird whose sum is equal to its wingspan. So not only am I trying to fill these numbers in to get the heart and the pumpkin and then the star, that would be 1 star. Then we're going to look and see what it totals. If my total for all my numbers equals that number, then I get another star. 6 and 4 and 10 is 6 is 16. Bam, I just got that star too. So that's how each one of those works. So again, evocative of wingspan. You go from left to right, etc. Between Two Castles is a call out to Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. And this one says fill squares from the bottom up. Each number must be lesser than the number directly below it. Gain resources when completing a column. So unlike these other two where you basically just played a number and got a resource and or a star, on this one we're going to build numbers up. So maybe I put the 3 that I rolled the first time on the very bottom here. Oh, I should probably go the other way because I need to build up. Much like in Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, you build your castle from the ground up. I can't have a level 2 room if it's not on top of a level 1 room. So you have to build from the bottom up. And as far as filling the numbers here, you have to decrease their value. So in theory, I might put like a 5 here and then a 4 here. And then when I complete a column, I would get the 2 stars. Yay, 2 stars. And then score 1 star per completed row. Each castle has 3 rows. So right now I haven't completed any rows, but next time maybe I put a 3 here. That's a completed row inside that castle. That would get me a star. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possible stars by filling in the rows. So this one has you going in both directions. You're trying to go up to get the resources, and you're trying to go sideways to get the stars. So that's kind of evocative of the kind of thing that you're looking at, where there's going to be these call-outs to the other Stonemaier games on these different cards. And basically, as I said, what we're going to do is you're going to roll the dice 9 times per round. So you're going to have all kinds of different numbers. You're going to fill them in. I got a 1, a 2, and you're going to keep filling all this in. And at the end of the round, you're going to add up all the stars. So maybe I got 8 stars this round. And then you're going to take up all the cards. Well, in theory, let's go ahead and wipe them off first so we don't have, marker all over everything. And then somebody's going to shuffle their cards that they have left. They're going to lay out 3 more. And we're going to do that 2 more times. And that's the game. Let's go back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so there you go. I'm sure that was clear as mud. You're welcome. Hold your applause to the end. Thank you. But here we are. So let's go ahead and get into it. So off the top, I want to give you 3 caveats. Number 1, I was not paid in any way for this review, though I was given a review copy. Thank you, Jamey. Number 2, there is a solo mode for this game in which it plays kind of like a golf course or a mini golf course, something like that. But anyway, I don't really play solo. So if that's what you're looking for, you probably should look somewhere else for an opinion. And number 3, generally speaking, I like Stonemaier Games. I feel like they consistently put out a good product with excellent production value, especially compared to what, normally just comes off the shelf for other producers. So keep all that in mind as we go forward. But let's go ahead and get into it. So first of all, I want to talk about the components. The cards. Cards are nice. They're kind of a good size. They write well on them. They're pretty easy to erase off of. They serve their purpose. They're good. The dice are fantastic. They are so chunky. It is ridiculous how big these dice are, which, makes sense, because if you got 6 different people playing and somebody's rolling dice, you don't want to have to, strain to see what's that, who rolled what's, it's nice. You get to see the numbers. I do have a couple of minor complaints. The first one being that the rulebook isn't exactly awesome. There were a couple of times. All right, so the cards say on them what they're supposed to do, like how you're supposed to put the numbers in and whatnot. But sometimes, if you're a thinker, I guess, you think of different ways to interpret those cards. And then when you go to the rule book, it's the same verbiage. So there's not really a lot of help there. Now, overall, I don't think they're that complicated, but there was one or two where we had a little issue with just trying to understand what it was talking about. Like the scythe one, for example, it says something like the associated, like when you fill in the top row, you can pay a resource and fill in the corresponding bottom row. Well, what's corresponding mean? Is it the one with the same number or the one directly under it? But I mean, we got there eventually. I'm just saying that they probably could have been a little bit clearer in the rule book as far as actually helping you instead of just restating things. I've had complaints. Personally, I think this little thing is awesome. A lot of people I've played with said they'd rather just have the thing at the top, to wipe it off. But I'm really not a big fan of those, quite frankly. This is kind of like Lucy, and it's probably going to get lost. But I think it works really good. And I think partially because the cards aren't that big. Could they have been bigger? Yeah, I don't think there was a reason to make them bigger. But since they're so little, it's just a little easier to just kind of go like this than it is, like this. But that's just my opinion. I seem to be in the minority. A lot of people really like the felt on the top of the pens. And my other minor complaint is the markers that they give you. I feel like they're a little thick for the size of the boxes, but, they're only going to last so long anyway. You know how it goes, and you have to replace them with your own. So, and I call both of these minor complaints because it didn't really detract from the enjoyment of the game for me. It was just kind of little things that I noticed along the way. Other than that, I think it was, well produced. As far as the weight of this game goes, this is an interesting point, I think, because this is not Welcome To. It's also not Hadrian's Wall, so it's somewhere in the middle there. We had some people over a couple of weeks ago, and we played just one, and some of them they were playing it for the first time. And at the end of it, how did you like it? What do you think? And, and one of the guys we were playing with said, you can play it at Thanksgiving and you can play it with your game group. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what Just One is like. I've played it with my parents. I've played it with, a 10-year-old. I've played it with all kinds of people. Everybody can play that game. I don't think that's true for this. I think a game like Welcome To, I could probably get my parents to play that. It might be a little bit rough because it's not the easiest thing ever. Maybe Clever. Clever is a little bit easier as far as roll and writes go and weight, because really you're just putting numbers in and trying to get rows and columns and stuff, which generally speaking, that's what you're doing here. But what adds to the weight, in my opinion, is you have different rules going on. So you have like 9 sets of rules going on, and you have to know 3 of them at any point in time. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think it's cool. I like having different things to think about instead of just rolling dice and putting numbers in a chart, basically, for the whole game. So I like the way it was constructed. But at the same time, it's not really an a gateway game as far as it goes. You kind of have to be a bit of a gamer, or at least be willing to go that deep into your thought process to be able to think about 3 different sets of rules 3 different times to be able to put the numbers down and do all this right. So there is that. Again, I don't think that's negative. I think that's good because I get a little bored with the easy stuff, and it was nice to have a little bit of a challenge. And, I like the 3 rounds because you might not have a good round, but that's okay. After 9 rolls, you do your best, you write your stars down, wipe them, move on. next round, you might have a much better round. So I like that also. I've been in games many times before where, you feel like you're done after the first 10 or 15 minutes. In this, maybe somebody got a better score on the first one, but you never feel like you're out of it because you have more rounds to go. And you never know. Maybe you're going to put your stuff down better than other people the next time. So I like that it switches it up along the way. Let's see. Who is this game for? Well, that's what the weight is all about, I think. So I think this game is for gamers. And then, there's also all the call outs in the game to other Stonemaier games, which I've played them. So I like the call outs, but we did play this with some people that really didn't ever play any Stonemaier games. So, it was just different rules. It didn't, make sense. Like I showed you, the viticulture one, it makes sense. You grow grapes, you turn them into wine, just like viticulture. But, to them, it was just, well, whatever. I'm just circling grapes and then circling. Yeah, I get that. So there's a bit of the flavor there as far as, knowing the source material as it goes. And as a side note to all that, actually, along with the game, Jamey also sent a handful of the promo packs. So I'm going to try to put some shorts together and open those up for you, but I didn't want to put them in the review because, they're not in the main game. But I'm kind of looking forward to getting them out there. We have promo packs for A Feast for Odin, Libertalia, Rolling Realms. Oh, I'm sorry, that's this game. Role Player, Arc Nova, and then, ironically enough, a Rolling Realms, and Terra Mystica. Now, I think it's awesome that only one of those... No, two of those are Stonemaier games. The itself, of course, and Libertalia. But they obviously, have a collaboration going on with other manufacturers or producers or whatever, because there's some other games in here, and that's cool. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they kind of call out the mechanisms in those games. Like Role Player, that's really cool. That's a game where you put dice out and you're trying to basically create a fantasy character. So you're, it's like you're rolling dice, except you're putting them in the place. So this is going to be somewhat a callback to that. But again, if you don't know any of these games, they're just more rules. You're not going to be familiar with it. It's not going to be evocative of the other game. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, that was cool. Something like that. So I think familiarity is going to help you a lot along the way. But at the end of the day, I still think it's a good game. This isn't my favorite roll and write, but it's in my top 5, and it definitely has a spot. Because like I kind of alluded to earlier, most roll and writes seem to be on the very lightish side or Hadrian's Wall or Twilight Inscription. And this is in the middle there. This is a game that's not going to take you 3 hours. So I appreciate that. At the end of the day, I probably would have never actually bought this because, look at all this. It's ridiculous. But I'm glad I have it. It definitely fills a spot that I didn't really even know that I needed a spot filled. But those are the best fillings. You know what I'm saying? It just fits that one spot real good right there. And at the end of the day, I know I keep saying that. It's kind of the end of this day, so sorry. But at the end of the day, the only thing holding you back from not playing with more players is the number of the cards that they give you. So I'm sure you could just combine a couple of boxes or, Xerox some of the sheets. And then, you could have all kinds of people playing this game. Everybody's playing the same rules, using the same numbers and all that. So I don't see why you couldn't, kind of just like every roll and write almost, except like Hadrian's Wall, because you're kind of doing it. But, we're not going to get into that. So anyway, there you have it. I like it. I'm glad I have it. Thank you for sending it to me. I'm happy to have played it with my friends. If you like what you see here, pay attention to the channel a bit, because like I said, I'm going to be putting out these as shorts so you can see what kind of different mechanisms they have going on and calling out of those games. As always, give me a like, give me a subscribe, come and join us on the Discord where we will talk to you all day long about games. Well, someone will talk to you all day long. I have a job. But, I'll get in there when I can. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye. Have a beautiful time.